The House's gun control package could get a full vote as soon as this week. If it passes, it will likely face an uphill battle in the Senate, though. Congressman David Cicilline is with us this morning to talk more about this. He's a Democrat representing Rhode Island's 1st District. So let's talk about this package, this Protect Our Kids Act package. It includes the Raise the Age Act. It's a bill that you are co-sponsoring. Can you tell us a little bit more about where the legislation stands?
Well, the Protecting Our Kids Act has, as you said, about 5 provisions that do important things that will help reduce gun violence in this country. One of the provisions is it will raise the age at which you can buy an assault rifle from 18 to 21. It prohibits the production of ghost guns. It bans explicitly gun trafficking, so buying guns for third parties, provides for safe storage, outlaws high-capacity magazines. So it's a really comprehensive bill that will make a real difference. We passed it out of the Judiciary Committee, unfortunately, without Republican support. But I expect it will be brought to the floor this week, and we'll pass it and send it to the Senate. Everyone should be reminded that we've already sent 2 really important gun safety bills to the Senate some months ago. One to strengthen criminal background checks, which everyone agrees needs to happen, and the second to close the Charleston loophole, so you're not allowed to buy a gun even if you have a substantial criminal record if your background check doesn't come back in 3 days, which is what happened in the Charleston shooting. So there are 2 bills there. They're going to pass those and send them to the president's desk, and we're going to send them another suite of bills that will make a real difference. And I hope the Republicans in the Senate will not stand in the way, and we'll get these to the president's desk.
Congressman, because it's so tough to pass this sort of legislation, would you consider breaking the bill up in order to get at least elements of it passed?
Well, I mean, I think the decision will be made by the speaker and the leadership as to whether we do it in a single vote or in multiple votes. But I'm all in favor of whatever way will ensure that we get some success and that we get something done. And so if there are provisions of the bill, the Senate can pass those provisions, just specific ones, and send it back to us. So there are a number of ways to do it. But look, we can't even get the Republicans to, stop obstructing criminal background checks. 90% of the American people support them. They work. 3.5 million gun sales have been denied because people were ineligible to buy a gun because of their criminal past. But the problem is tens of thousands of guns are sold every year with no background check. That legislation fixes it. So that's a simple one. And we can't even get the Republicans to stop obstructing passage of that. So I'm for whatever process will get these bills to the president's desk. But unfortunately, I haven't seen a lot of indication that our Republican colleagues are willing to work with us, and that's really disappointing.
So, Congressman, as you are now well aware, during last week's House Judiciary Committee hearing, you had a viral moment when you responded to a comment from Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. He said that red flag laws trample on the people's Second Amendment rights. You're also a lawyer. From a legal standpoint, do these laws infringe on the Second Amendment protections afforded to all Americans?
Not at all. And Matt Gaetz and the Republicans know that. This is an argument that the gun lobby has put forth, and they're repeating it, but they know better. Look, the Supreme Court of the United States has already acknowledged that reasonable restrictions on guns are perfectly lawful. No amendment to the Constitution is absolute, including the Second Amendment. The First Amendment, the most important one in some ways, is not absolute. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. We have libel and slander laws. So the Republicans know that. This is just an argument that they are advancing on behalf of the gun lobby. But the Supreme Court has said you can prohibit, for example, machine guns or assault weapons. You can prevent them from being brought into schools and airports. And so there's a well-recognized series of cases by the United States Supreme Court that makes it clear reasonable restrictions on the ownership and use of firearms is perfectly permissible. And what they were arguing, which is just shocking, is that even someone who's severely mentally ill and a danger to themselves or danger to others, someone who's exhibited dangerous behavior that they intend to slaughter a group of people, should have unfettered, unhindered access to purchasing a firearm. That's just crazy. There's no basis for that. It's a myth, and it's dangerous, and red flag laws would prevent that.
He used a little-known legal term that starts with a B and ends with a T.
Yes.
But I think everyone understood
Everybody
what your point
what you were
was.
saying. Yeah.
Yes. Don't have to go to law school for that. Let me ask you about something else in terms of, sort of people watching these shootings and perhaps being inspired. DHS issued a bulletin this morning warning that online forums with extremist content are actually encouraging copycat attacks after the shooting in Uvalde at the school there. The agency also says that some people are using the recent shooting to spread misinformation that the government staged the attack in order to advance gun control legislation. What do you think should be done from a legislative standpoint to prevent this sort of online extremism?
Well, I mean, it's a very serious concern, the sort of copycat phenomenon and people being radicalized online and the ease at which you can share completely false information with millions of people by, hitting a button. And I think, we have been engaged in a very serious effort to rein in big tech. These large platforms have monopoly power. They make no effort, many of them, to prevent this kind of toxic, dangerous, untruthful information from being shared, and they need to be held accountable. We have a number of bills that are pending that I hope will be brought to the floor soon that will help to rein in big tech. But their business model is built on the idea of engagement. And it turns out the things where there's the most engagement, generates the biggest profits for them, are the most violent, the most controversial, the most toxic, and often the most untrue. So they're making money on this spread of disinformation and this dangerous content, and they've shown no willingness to curate their own content, and we need to make them do so so that we can protect the lives of the American people.
Congressman Dave Cicilline, as always, Congressman, thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure.